If you've ever dreamed of walking into your backyard and picking sun-ripened peaches straight from the tree, this video is for you. Today I'll show you exactly how to grow healthy peach trees, avoid common mistakes, and at the end I'm going to be making one of my family's favorite summer desserts, which is a homemade sourdough peach cobbler using fresh peaches from the garden. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about peaches and how to grow peaches and even what you can do with your peach harvest. I'm here with my peach trees. I have two of them here and then I have two plums over there. So I've had these are young peach trees. I've only had them for about a year and a half now. So in this video we're going to go over peach varieties, the different kinds of peach trees that are out there and what to look for. We're going to be talking about how to prune peach trees, how to take care of peaches, and how to harvest them, and what to do with your harvest. And we're going to go over some common mistakes when it comes to growing peaches. So stay tuned, and if you love gardening, homesteading, and good food, please be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can get more of these kind of videos. So first I want to get into the different kinds of peach trees that are available out there. There are a lot of different varieties of peaches. But it's important to know what is going to work well for your climate, the type of temperatures you get in the winter, how many chill hours you get. So you want to make sure you investigate that before selecting a peach tree. You don't want to just go to Home Depot and grab a peach tree off the lot and bring it home. It's good to do a little bit of research before getting a peach tree. There are different types of peaches out there. There are yellow peaches, there are white peaches, and they have slightly different flavor. The traditional peach that you see at the grocery store that most people like are the yellow peaches, but some people do like white. And then there are also clingstone versus freestone peaches. So clingstone peaches are the ones where the peach pit literally clings to the fruit, where the freestone peaches come right out. So that makes it easier if you're doing a lot of canning and prepping with peaches. You're going to be cutting them up. It's better to have the freestone varieties. And another thing to look at is dwarf trees versus standard size trees, and there's also the semi-dwarf. So you want to look at the size of the tree. The good news about most peach trees is that they are self-pollinating, most of them are, so you don't have to worry about getting a second tree. However, having two trees helps improve pollination. So if you do have the space for more than one tree, I would get a second tree. And then one of the main considerations you want to think about before getting a certain type of peach tree is how many chill hours that peach tree needs. And so for this, I recommend talking to people in your area, seeing what kind of varieties they're growing. You can go on your local Facebook gardening group and see what people are growing, because you want to make sure you have the right number of chill hours for your fruit, any fruit tree. Because if you have too little chill hours, the tree is going to start blossoming too early, and then it's probably going to get killed off by late frost. But if you don't have enough chill hours, then the tree is not going to produce very well. So you want to get right in that Goldilocks spot for your area. Another thing you want to take into consideration is getting a bare root tree versus a potted containerized tree. So the main difference with this is that you plant the bare root trees in like February or March when they're still dormant, versus the containerized trees can be planted at any time. So if it's not like February, January, February, March right now, you probably want to go with a containerized tree unless you want to wait. And also you want to make sure when you're planting your fruit tree, if you live in the south like me, you don't want to plant fruit trees in July or August when it's extremely hot outside. So you want to plant it ideally in the fall or the spring. I also want to talk about where to plant your fruit tree and how to plant it. So when you go to plant it, you want to make sure that the location you're choosing has enough space. Now, as you can see here, I don't have a lot of space. These are not maybe properly spaced trees. They really need maybe 8-10 feet in between them. Ideally, I have them closely spaced because I don't have a lot of space back here, and I was trying to squeeze in as many fruit trees as possible. They're also containerized, so that's going to dwarf the size of these trees. They're not going to get as big as they would if I planted them in the ground. But if you're planting your fruit tree in the ground, you want to make sure that you have ideally 8 to 10 feet. You want to make sure that you dig a big enough hole for the roots, but also it's good to dig a little bit bigger than that, because then you can add in some extra compost and fertilizer for your tree. Now you don't really want to go too heavy with the fertilizer when you're first planting a tree. You want to make sure that you are amending the soil, and then you'll want to mulch around the trees. Now you got to be careful not to create a mulch volcano. So you want to make sure that you're not piling the mulch up around the bark of the tree. You want to make sure that it's pushed away. And I also forgot to mention this because it kind of goes without saying, but you're going to need like a full sun area to plant your trees. Just like your vegetable garden, you're going to need at least 6 to 8 hours of sun. You're also going to want to consider, are you planting your trees in a cooler area of your yard or a warmer area of your yard? So if you plant it like in a more shady, like frost pocket area of your yard that gets cooler, it may freeze like easier in the spring. Like it may have blossom drop in the spring. But if you plant your tree somewhere warmer, like for example, I have mine planted next to this wall here. This brick wall gets warm. It warms up the trees, so it keeps them warmer. And when you do first plant your trees, you want to make sure that you water them well until they're more established. The first season, you really want to get those roots watered because they'll dry out a lot easier than a mature tree would. And you want to make sure that you're lightly fertilizing. You don't want to go too crazy with the fertilizer. You definitely don't want anything that's nitrogen heavy. You want a balanced fertilizer. Also, you may notice over here, I don't have it as much on the peach trees. I have it more on my plum trees right now. But sometimes I will tie down my branches a little bit. You may be wondering, why do you have these strings on here? Well, the reason is that the sun hits horizontal branches easier than it does vertical branches. It also helps the tree kind of open up and create an open vase shape, which I'll talk about when I talk about pruning here in a second. But when you have the sun hitting these branches, you're going to get more fruit than you would if you leave the tree vertically. It also just, as I said, helps space the fruit out and stuff. Helps the plant get more airflow. And this kind of goes into my next point, which is pruning, which you usually do in the winter when the plants are dormant. But when you're pruning, you want to make sure that you keep an open vase shape. So that means you want to get like rid of branches that are kind of crossing in the middle of the tree. They're overlapping. They make the center of the tree crowded. And you want to encourage the tree branches to grow out kind of in a open shape. And I also want to mention when I talk about pruning here is you got to be careful when you're pruning your peach trees, especially. Peach trees are a fruit that likes to grow fruit on the tips of the plant. So if you prune off the tips of the branches, you're not going to get as much fruit. So when you're pruning, you're going to want to prune out those crowded branches, but don't cut off the tips of the other branches, otherwise you're not going to get fruit. And peach trees, just like other fruit trees, are susceptible to different types of pests and diseases. However, if you keep an open shape to your trees, you prune them properly, you use netting if you need to, like if you have a bird issue. I know sometimes the trees get really big and it's hard, but if you have a smaller tree, you could put netting over it. I even use frost cloth over top of my smaller fruit trees to help with the late freezes. But in terms of pests, you can put netting over the top, or if you want, this works good if you don't have too many peaches, you can put little mesh baggies over top of the fruit as it's developing. To be honest with you guys though, the problem actually that I have in my garden is I have little people that like to come and pick the fruit off the tree before it's ripe. That actually just happened a couple days ago. Now you also might be wondering, how do I know when my peaches are ready? So obviously, sorry, it smells so good, but you'll know when the peaches are ready because they'll smell. When you give them a little squeeze, like you feel that they're slightly softer. And obviously they'll be full color. And also when you go to pull it, it should come off the branch pretty easy. You shouldn't have to tug too hard. And so also I just want to add that I wouldn't go by the color alone. You want to see multiple signs before you go to pick your peaches. Now I have a list here of different things that you can do with your peach harvest. So you can obviously eat them fresh. You can can the sliced peaches. You can freeze sliced peaches. You can make peach jam, peach preserves, peach butter, peach salsa, smoothies, homemade ice cream. You can dehydrate the peaches to have for snacks of your own. You can make a peach barbecue sauce. You can add them to salads. You can make peach crisp, peach muffins. I've made peach bars in the past. You can make peach pancakes. You can make a peach pie. And in a second here, I'm actually going to be making peach cobbler today. If you've been thinking about planting a peach tree, I hope this video gives you the confidence to get started. There's nothing quite like harvesting fruit from your own backyard and turning it into something delicious for your family. So let me know in the comments down below, what's your favorite way to eat peaches? Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll include a link to the full sourdough peach cobbler recipe in the description box for this video. And I also wanted to mention that if you're interested in buying a peach tree, I have a discount code for fast growing trees. And they have several different peach tree varieties on there. So you can get, I think, 20% off your first order through Fast Growing Trees if you use my coupon. So I'll have that linked down in the description box below. And I hope this video was informative. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one.